from the beers in Diego.
Attack on Titan is one of the biggest animes in the world right now, possibly the biggest anime in the world. And with its final episode finally coming, allegedly, in fall, I think now would be a great time to stop and take a look at the 9 Titan shifters that Attack on Titan granted us and see just which one is the absolute worst thing imaginable and which one's actually freaking cool as hell. So, let's get started. Coming in at number 9, we have the Founding Titan. Now, disclaimer right now, I think the giant centipede-looking design, despite my documented dislike of centipedes, is actually pretty sick. However, so much of this Titan's abilities just feel like because the plot said so. And that is the laziest thing possible to use. If the characters need an excuse to not know what's on beyond the end of the walls, the plot Titan demands it. Eren Yeager needs to turn into a giant Titan capable of destroying the world. The Founding Titan can provide. If Eren needs a way to overpower Ymir so he can release all of the restrictions on the Titans in the walls, the plot Titan provided. It's just so obnoxious because it's, instead of coming up with an interesting way to tell the story the way it is, all of the things that happen in the story that need to happen for the sake of the plot are just slapped onto this one Titan, and it's just, we have to accept it. And that's kind of bad writing. That's the one thing you never do, is just slap all of your stuff on one thing and say, because this thing said so. Plus, we only get to see like 2 actual Founding Titan forms. Ymir's Founding Titan is fine, it's not awful, but objectively speaking, Eren's is better. And I also think that, you know, having the ability to turn yourself into basically any sort of Titan you want is really cool, and is something you would expect from a ability called the Founding Titan. I just feel like all of the rest of it, like memory manipulation, control of people who aren't Titans, like that just feels like excessive. Controlling Titans and turning into a Titan of whatever shape and design you choose, that's where it should have stopped. All of the other shit could have easily been like handled a little bit better. But that's a whole like thing I could rant about in a whole nother video. This is ranking the Titan shifters, so let's move on. Number 8, we have the Cart Titan. I could go into another long rant about something crazy or dumb, but in all honesty, the only reason this Titan's this low is because it is ugly. Oh my god, there are some ugly looking Titans in this show, but this is the ugliest looking Titan shifter. Holy crap. That being said though, I do think the whole like armored up version of it is pretty cool. How they turn it into a walking, talking tank that can move around and scale buildings. Like, that's actually really savage. It's just, it's so sad that the poor thing is so unbelievably ugly.
やっぱり俺はお前と同じだ。
どうか私と共に力を合わせてパラディ島の悪魔と戦ってほしい。
多分生まれた時からこうなんだ。
私ビリー・タイマーはマーレ政府特使として今ここに宣言します。
俺は進み続ける。敵を駆逐するまで。
パラディ島勢力へ宣戦布告を。
Coming in at number 7, we have the Attack Titan. Yeah, this is just kind of a bland Titan to me, honestly. It feels like the idea of the Titan shifters wasn't fully thought out when they introduced Eren being able to turn into a Titan. So they just gave him something called the Attack Titan, where it feels like all of the other Titans on this list could also be titled Attack Titans. Again, like the Founding Titan, I have a problem with its ability. This should have been the Titan that introduced the hardening ability. When Eren drinks that hardening potion and starts to learn how to develop brass knuckles made of crystallized diamond or whatever that crap is that the Titans use, that is really freaking cool. That should be the Attack Titan's ability. But instead, it's like future time loopy stuff where you can link with the future wielders of the Titan and use their memories, and what does that even mean? How does that work? I know, like, the whole supernatural aspect with the paths and whatnot, but it's like, maybe I'm overthinking this. I know it's supposed to be like suspension of disbelief, but like, still, that ability is just like not very well thought out and handled very well. Admittedly, it makes for some great scene. Like the scene where Eren is talking to his father and convinces his father to attack and destroy the royal family. Great scene, handled phenomenally, but just objectively speaking, this power is just really freaking weird and really dumb. But that toppled onto the fact that this is just kind of a basic Titan, more or less, even though Eren's design does look pretty demonic, which I think matches pretty well with the overall becoming a devil thing that Eren's entire character is in the story. It's pretty decently designed, but the ability, the just blandness of it, I don't like it too much.
やっぱりダメか。なぜこうなるんだ。
人から暴力を奪うことはできないよ。ねえ、兵長。
Coming in the number 6 spot, we have the female Titan. Feeding off of what I was just saying about all of these Titans being able to be considered Attack Titans. Objectively, she is significantly stronger than Eren's Attack Titan, and she has the crystallizing ability, and it's just, this could be a much better Attack Titan than Eren's. But what I think sets this above Eren's Attack Titan is, first of all, the design is basically just Eren's Attack Titan mixed with the Colossal Titan aesthetic, which is really cool. I like that. It's probably one of the most unique looking Titans in the series, on top of the upcoming Beast Titan and all of the various different anomalies and whatnot. But this is just the female equivalent to the Attack Titan. It doesn't even, if you look at the 9 Titan shifters, it serves no like niche. It's not super armored, it's not super durable, it's not super big. It's just what you would think would go on the front lines to help out with the Attack Titan, which again could be summarized with literally any other Titan.
もう俺には何が正しいことなのかわからん。ただ俺のすべきことは自分のした行いや選択に対し戦士として最後まで責任を果たすことだ。 ライダーやるんだな今ここで。ああ勝負は今ここで決める。ベルトルト。
Alright, at number 5, we have the Armored Titan. Yet another one that I feel like could just be labeled as an Attack Titan. I feel like I'm being overly negative on this whole aspect of the different Attack Titans. I'm just trying to say, like, these things should fill a niche, and I feel like the Armored Titan does feel a pretty good niche. It is significantly more armor plating. It's not as good as, like, the crystallizing diamond thing, but its baseline defenses are surprisingly tanky. It can take a whole barrage of cannons and whatnot in the first, like, 2 episodes, and it makes one hell of an impact with its introduction. And I think overall the design is pretty good too. I like how you can see, like, the jaw thing can, like, link up and form a face mask. Reiner's got some pretty solid fights against Eren with it. I like how at certain points it actually looks like Reiner, especially when he's facing off against Eren's Attack Titan during the siege of Marley. It's a really interesting Titan. I just feel like it falls into this small niche of these past 3 where you could tell me either one of them's the Attack Titan and it ultimately wouldn't really change anything.
制圧したか。俺たちの敗北が招いた戦争だ、ライナー。
Coming in at number 4, we have the Beast Titan. The Beast Titan is probably the second most unique of all the Titans, right behind the Colossal Titan. And I feel like overall, it is really interesting aesthetically, especially when you look at what Falco can do with his Beast Titan as a well, no, that's the Jaw Titan. My bad. But it's because of the beast DNA that Falco can fly in the first place. And the idea of taking a Titan and merging it with a beast is a really cool concept, and it forms some pretty cool things. Like, we see a couple of others throughout the series in, like, flashbacks and whatnot, but I feel like Zeke's Beast Titan, rather, obviously being inspired by King Kong is really cool, and it also is surprisingly effective as a long-range sniper in the hands of Zeke, given his baseball practice and his incredible pitching ability. And ultimately, what sets us above the other 3 is this doesn't have so much of a role as an aesthetic. I can imagine maybe a Bull's version of this Titan that would also be a very heavy frontline fighter and whatnot, but it would ultimately be the aesthetic that would still place it above the other 3.
クリスタ、私まだ自分なんて生まれてこなければよかったと思ってた。ただ存在するだけで世界に憎まれたんだ。私は大勢の人の幸せのために死んであげた。でもその時に心から願ったことがある。もし生まれ変わることができたなら、今度は自分のために生きたいと。
And coming in at number 3, we have the Jaw Titan. Yet another contender for potentially being called the Attack Titan, but I feel like this one is significantly cooler because Jaw Titan, while being significantly smaller, I think it says it's only about 12 meters tall, I believe, which I think is one of the lowest classes of Titan. It is significantly more agile. Like, we see the one character whose name I can't think of off the top of my head. I'll flash it up on the screen. But when he's fighting Eren, he's like climbing buildings, jumping all over the place. It's like fighting a tiny little angry monkey. Plus, given the fact that the Jaw Titan's ability is also insanely strong enough to break through crystallized Titan material, makes it so much more useful and so much more dangerous. If Eren would have actually gotten to eat the Jaw Titan from the Marley battle, he wouldn't have had any difficulty taking down Reiner, and he would have had the Jaw Titan, the Warhammer Titan, the Attack Titan, the Founding Titan, and the Armored Titan all in one body, leaving them with no Titans at all to utilize outside of the Cart Titan, because Zeke already joined their side and he was crystallized. Armin already had Colossal Titan. That's how powerful and potent the Jaw Titan is on its own. But ultimately, the just sheer smallness of it, the ability of being so agile to just leap through and tear enemies to shred, is so cool to see. Like, the best thing about good animation like that is that speedy action is always going to dominate over impactful blows, and I think that a lot of kaiju battles in the future can learn that one simple thing, because so often you see these giant monsters that are taller than buildings and they move super sluggish. And it's like, yeah, it's cool to watch them fight, but when you see something smaller just scaling the buildings and running around and jumping and slashing and biting, it's so much more interesting to watch than just giant monster punch. I think I went off into a really big tangent right there. Coming in at number 2, we have the Colossal Titan. This Titan is a walking nuke. By simply activating it, you can generate a blast of heat and steam that is capable of leveling entire cities and destroying entire harbors and leaving a mushroom cloud in its wake. It is genuinely incredible to see. Multiple times throughout the series, they call this Titan a god of destruction, and it lives up to it. They have to figure out ways to create fights around this Titan because it is so broken, it would just completely overpower everyone and step on all of the regular Titans. This Titan is the first abnormal Titan we see in the show before we know about Titan Shifters. Technically, the first Titan Shifter we ever see in the show, and its introduction is so iconic that it has been memed, referenced, remade, reshot so much that I'm pretty sure most people don't know what the actual image looks like anymore. And it's genuinely incredible to have had that much of an impact on modern day pop culture, because pop culture moves so damn fast. But more importantly than anything like that is the simple fact that this is one of the most unique designs that we see for a Titan. There is no flesh, it is just muscle and sinew, and it is incredibly strange. The entire body is able to dissolve in an instant. He is able to burn and destroy everything within an instant. The second it's activated, you can even choose the potency of the explosion because Bertolt purposely didn't level all of Shiganshina when he used it the first time. It is a genuinely incredible Titan, and it is obviously my second favorite, but I can imagine that this is probably the fan favorite if you ask more Attack on Titan fans.
エリサ、タイバー家の務め、ご立派でした。
And my number one favorite Attack on Titan Titan Shifter is the Warhammer Titan. And now I have to explain why. And objectively speaking, this is another one that could just be classified as an Attack Titan, going back to my rant that I've been on this entire video. But what sets this Titan above and beyond every other Titan is just how unique this Titan is. I just talked about how incredibly unique the Colossal Titan is, and the Beast Titan, and the Jaw Titan, how they're all unique on their own right. This is an insane Titan. This Titan uses the hardening ability of the Titans in ways that weren't possible before it was introduced. It can create weapons. It can turn its own body into a field of spikes that stab and pierce into anything. And even more interesting than any of that, which objectively speaking probably doesn't sound that interesting, this is a Titan that is able to be controlled remotely. You don't need to pilot it from its neck. you can crystallize yourself and link to the Titan by a cord or some kind and control it that way. It is a very unique Titan. It has one of the coolest fights in all of Season 4, Final Season Part 73, and I think that, objectively speaking, it's my favorite Titan simply because of how interesting it is compared to all of the other just frontline attack Titans. It's not nearly as destructive as the Colossal Titan, and there's a solid case to be made that it's not better than the Colossal Titan. And if you want to make that case, I'm more than happy to agree with you. But for me personally, I think this Titan is just cooler than all the other ones. This is the Titan that shows what Titans could have been if the creator willingly took them to the next level. And I've kind of wish we could have got more like this. Well guys, that's going to do it for the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. What do you think? Are my opinions wrong? Do you agree with me about the Warhammer Titan being the best? Or do you think that the female Titan's actually the best? Let me know down in the comments below. And I'll see you guys in the next video.